Hello everybody, my name is Mike. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a small paper mache wall decoration, and hopefully it'll be easy enough for you all to follow along. Basic paper mache. You're going to need a bowl, some water, all-purpose flour, a little bit of salt, balloons, recycled newspaper, and a little bit of your time. So yeah, we're going to be constructing a small ladybug, and it's going to go up on a wall of your nursery or your classroom, or it's going to look nice. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start prepping our newspaper. The newspaper has got to be the regular newspaper. It can't be anything glossy, because the paste won't it won't absorb the paste. So basically, newspapers, they have a grain, kind of like a wood grain. So I'm going to be tearing everything by hand. I'm not going to use scissors, because scissors, they leave a really hard edge and you're able to see it in the finished product. You're still able to see the lines if you tear it by hand, but it meshes a little bit better once you put the paste over it. The grain of this newspaper runs up and down, so I'm able to just pinch about an inch and then tear it all the way down, make strips. Whereas if I go against the grain, it wants to come off in chunks. So I'm gonna and after that, we're gonna get the strips and cut them into maybe about 2-inch little strips. We want to make them that big. Seeing as that the balloon that we have are small balloons, the strips of paper have to be kind of small. Now let's go ahead and get started with the paste. Now the paper mache paste, I like to make in small batches, because if you make a big batch, it's just gonna go bad on you. Because once we make one layer, we need to let it dry, and then put another layer, let it dry, and then put another layer. I want to make at least 3 layers, so that it can have enough paper on it to make it rigid. All right, so let me show you how I make the paste. Cup 2. This is half a cup, so that's a full cup. I'm gonna get the salt. Basically, you just want a couple of pinches of salt, and then the water. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and grab a balloon. I got these. They're 7-inch standard assortment balloons. I'm just going to blow it up. That's about 7 inches. Make the knot. Make sure the knot's a little bit tight, because it's gonna have to stay inflated for a few days while it dries. So now I have all my pieces of paper, and I know it can get very messy dipping the paper and putting it on the balloon. But what I like to do to kind of like eliminate the mess, I have one of these dollar store paint brushes that I like to use. I just dip the brush into the Mache, brush it on the balloon a little bit, and then with the stickiness of the brush pick up the paper and then brush it on there, and then just continue until the entire balloon is covered. Alright, let me get closer so y'all can see. With the brush, you're able to pick up the piece of paper, place it on the balloon, and then brush it on there. And the Mache will stick the paper to the balloon. And then you continue till all the balloon is covered. Let me go ahead and do that. So the thinner So the thinner the strip of newspaper, the more manageable it is to put on the balloon. If you have a big square like this one, it's gonna go on there, but it'll be a little more difficult for you to paste it down. Plus it'll have a tendency of lifting up in certain places, but that's all right, that's fine. So small, thinner pieces. Now we're going to be giving it 3 layers. You can do 2, but I prefer 3. It makes it a little more rigid and it keeps its shape better once you paint, because it's gonna dry and it's gonna dry hard, but once we apply paint to it, you'll see that it absorbs the moisture of the paint and it's gonna want to get soft and a little bit soggy on you. I advise everybody to wear an apron. And to lay down paper on your surfaces, because it is going to get messy. Simple paper machine. Alright. Okay, so now that we have our first layer of paper mache on our balloon, I'm going to go ahead and tie a string to it. Alright, and then we're going to hang it somewhere. For me, I have this tripod. For you, you can go ahead and hang it if you have a clothesline outside or somewhere inside where it's might drip. Go ahead and put a little piece of paper there, and we're gonna let it dry. So if you live in an area where it's really hot, like in southern part of the United States, or in an area where it's hot, feel free to leave this outside. I'm pretty sure the salt content is going to be enough to keep bugs away and to keep it from getting moldy, but it has to be in a dry place. So I would just leave it in the workshop. I forgot to mention the Mache paste. I maybe used a little less than half of it, but I made such a small batch that it doesn't matter if I throw it away. I'm just gonna make another new batch tomorrow. You can save it for tomorrow. You can put plastic wrap over it. Make sure that doesn't get enough air, but I've had the occasion where I've forgotten about it and it's been there and it starts to kind of get smelly and I don't like it. So for me, every time I make a layer of Mache, I make a new batch of paper mache paste. So this, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it away. I'll make a new batch next time. Forgot to mention, rinse your brush as well, because if you leave it, it'll get a little bit hard. Alright, so now we're continuing with paper mache. It's had the ability to dry overnight. Now I'm gonna make another batch of the paper mache paste and we'll go ahead and go from there. Alright, so I made my second batch. As you can see, I have my camera on it here. I zoomed on camera. It's thick. Not too thick. Still a little bit watery. We're going to go ahead and cover the balloon again. But before we do, I want to go ahead and do another step. I want to use a Sharpie and make lines all along the side. That way it'll be like a visual marker so that you make sure to cover all the balloon and not leave a spot where it's not leave a spot that's still one layer. So make 4. Get a bit of Sharpie. So you're going to follow these lines with the paper mache second coat. Alright. So around the balloon. Around the balloon. Not a real exact science, don't worry about it being perfect. So now there you go. You created a nice little guide for you all to Just continue with the paper mache. The brush got a little hard. So now you're going to continue with the paper mache. You dip the brush, brush it on, pick up a piece of newspaper, and see how the blue lines are getting covered up, or the black lines if you use black Sharpie. So now you have a visual guide so that you see what has been covered and what hasn't been covered. If you don't put these lines down, then there's a very big possibility that you'll miss a spot. Even though you can kind of judge it with the wetness of it, it's better to, I visually like to have the lines. Alright, so now my second layer is all done. I've already covered up all the blue lines that I've created, and I think I've gotten good coverage. So now I'm going to go ahead and hang it back on my tripod, and then we'll leave it overnight to dry again. Okay, so this will be our third and final layer. We're gonna do the same thing that we did in the second layer, which is draw lines with a Sharpie, like a small grid, and then fill it in with the final layer of paper mache. Alright, so now I'm going to make another small batch of the mache paste. Alright. Now I'm going to forward the video because we've already done this before, so okay, so now that it's dried, we're gonna get the balloon. It's nice and hard. And you can still bend it and fold it if you give it enough. But we're gonna pop the balloon. And we're gonna pull it out. Alright, so now with the scissors, we're going to try to cut an equal half. Okay, we're going to try to just eyeball it right in the middle. Cut. Cut down the middle. Try to get two equal halves. It might be alright, so now you want two equal sides. Like this. Now we're gonna get something that I hadn't mentioned before, which is a piece of cardboard. Just a regular piece of cardboard. Okay. Normally the outside is painted, the inside isn't. So we're gonna get the outside, that way it can end up inside. We're gonna put it on one half. We're gonna get one half, put it on top, and then we're gonna get our Sharpie and trace it out. Trace the outline. All right. And now we're gonna get a cutter. Okay, now we're gonna get a cutter and carefully cut out the outline of the balloon half. Alright, now we have our balloon half, and we're just going to go ahead and run a bead of hot glue around the base of this cardboard, and then we're going to glue it. Okay? Okay, so you're going to get your two halves, your cardboard, and then you're going to run some glue and glue it down. But before you do, I'm going to give it a little fold like this. That way we can stuff it with some paper and make it a little bit more stronger. So I guess while you're cutting it, make sure that you're cutting it with the grain of the cardboard going up and down, sideways, sorry, not up and down, sideways. That way we can have a little opening where we can stuff some newspaper in there, so we can make it a little more sturdy. Alright. So now we're gonna get our hot glue gun. Give it a little bead of hot glue. Try to align it the best you can. Alright. So now we're going to get some newspaper and stuff it into that little hole that we made. This is just to give it some strength. If it's gonna be up on a wall where nobody's gonna touch it, then go ahead and skip this part. If you think that it's gonna be left, that's not gonna be left, it's gonna be moved from time to time, let's go ahead and follow this step right here. Okay, so now we've stuffed it. You can feel it's a little bit more sturdy. Now I'm gonna finish off gluing it, and then trim the last bit off. Careful with the hot glue gun because you can burn yourself. If you're letting your kids do this, do the hot glue gun and the cutting for them. So see how we have this little bit here? Once the hot glue dries, I'll trim it up a little bit with the knife. Okay. I'm going to go over it a little bit with the hot glue. There's some spots that I missed. There's a few spots that are still picking out. So I'm just going to go over it. There's this little hole where we had the balloon. I'm going to fill that up a little bit with the hot glue. Try your best to keep your workstation clean. I'm kind of all over the place, so try not to be like me. Alright, so put the hot glue gun away. Now we have our Ladybug. Might not look like much right now, but once we paint it, you know what, I might go over it a little bit, give it some paper mache here just so that you can't see this. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that right now, seeing as that I have some paste left over. And I have some strips. Let me go ahead and do that. Just one layer. We're just masking the seam. Alrighty. So now we've covered up all the seam. And now I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. And then we can do the final step, which is paint. And then we'll hang it up. I'll show you how to hang it up. Alright. So we're in the painting portion of our project. We already created the body of the Ladybug. So now I'm going to cover it in all red paint. I'm going to make one red and one pink. And I also want to show the difference of covering the edge and not covering the edge, and let you know that it doesn't really matter, because once you apply the black paint to it, it kind of hides this edge. But you know, if you want a cleaner edge, you can go ahead and do this. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of red. Try to get as bright a red as you can. Now remember, once you're applying this paint, the liquid water portion of the paint is being absorbed by the paper mache, so the thicker the layer you put on there, the more it absorbs. So alright, so that'll be the red. Now I'm going to get started on the pink. Okay, now we're gonna give them some time to dry. So I just noticed that as this one's drying, I'm still able to see a little bit of newsprint on the outer. See, you can see there's a T. Okay, so I'm gonna give it another layer, another coat, sorry, of red. If you're wondering about the paint, I just got these at a big box craft section, big box store craft section. I don't want to say the name, I don't want to get in trouble. But these are apple barrel matte acrylic paint, quick drying. I'm just going to give it another coat. There you go. That seems to have fixed the problem. Now with the color layer already dry, well, with the color layer already dried, I'm going to go ahead and lay down the black. It's just going to be a black for the head, a line down the middle to separate, I guess, the wings, and then I'm going to do one dot on each side. Okay. I'm going to get some black. Okay, now I'm going to do a line down the middle. Alright, now I'm going to do the two dots on either side. Alright, there you go. Now I'm going to start on the pink one. Alright, so the pink one, I left with the cardboard edge. So I'm going to go over it with the black, just to sort of hide it a little bit. Alright, So with the black line, you kind of hide the cardboard line. Alright, there you go. So now we have our ladybugs. We're going to let them dry. I decided to give our ladybugs feet or legs. And just what I did was I got some construction paper. I cut squares out. Like this. And then I free-handed a little arc. So just some wide feet. And we're gonna paste them on our ladybug right now while they're drying with a little bit of hot glue. There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That way when we hang them up, it looks like if it looks as if they're clinging onto the wall with their feet. Now the last step is we're gonna hang them up on the wall. And for that I'm gonna use a push pin and a pencil push pin. It's my pencil push pin method. Trademark. So now we're gonna mount this on a wall. For that we do what I call the pencil push pin method. The diameter of a pencil, the hole that you're gonna make with the pencil into this cardboard is about around the same size as a push pin, the head of a push pin, just a standard push pin. So you're gonna grab your you're gonna make a hole. Ooh, try not to bend your and then the push pin is gonna go in here. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the wall and I'll show you how I mount it, and we're gonna add a little something just to make it look a little bit nicer. So we're gonna go to the wall where you're gonna mount this, and if it's drywall like this, you're going to stick your push pin, okay, and then you're going to put your ladybug on the wall. And And then I'm gonna add a little more so I have some tape and some construction paper strips, small little strips that I cut, and I'm just going to mount these and make a little track that the ladybug has been walking. The ladybug has been walking. You can see, you can retrace her steps with these little dots. You can make little dashes like this, or you can make little dots. It doesn't matter. Just to show that it's crawling up along the wall. Okay, so there you go. You make a little track out of paper. It's been crawling on the wall. It's crawling up, and you can make more of these. You can make 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Put them crawling all along your wall. Make a little garden theme. And so yeah, I hope you like this little project. Please give me a like. I plan on making a lot more of these little craft project videos where I make things out of cardboard and paper mache. So yeah, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. My name's Mike, and thank you. I'll see you next time.